just defeated Felipe Colares via third-round TKO. He's the great Chase Hooper, who's joining us first up on the show today. Hello, Chase. How are you?
Good. Not too sore, not too beat up. So I've definitely come out of fights worse. So I'm feeling good today.
Well, we have a lot to talk to you about. And by the way, you look completely different. We cut the hair. You don't look like Ben Askren anymore. You've got a little bit of stubble here on the chin.
There you go.
This 11-month time off has really done wonders for you.
Yeah, I obviously, I don't know, I wasn't really intending on cutting the hair this short. It just kind of ended up like that. But I don't know. It's just, it's been so much time off and just been really putting in the work to, improve my game overall. And I feel like that really showed last night. And to try to, not just take the place of like, oh, this young, like dorky guy, like, I have to be a UFC fighter, first and foremost. And I have to really not see myself as any different than any of these other guys. Obviously I've had a much, bigger platform, like just from the jump, on the social media side of things, but it's like not just being content with that and not just being content with being like the young, Eminem kid, trying to step up and prove to myself and to, the three people that matter, like Dana, Mick, and Sean, that I am a world-class fighter and that I, deserve to be in the UFC. So.
Wow. Okay. You said a lot there. I appreciate that answer. First off, was this one of those classic, hey, can you just trim the hair a little bit? And then the lady like messed it all up. Is that what happened? Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
How mad were you?
And then, so I was like, yeah, just fade up the sides, like get it clean. It's fine.
Damn.
I only get a haircut like every 6 months, and the 6-month mark just ended weird. And then I was dieting, so it doesn't grow very fast. And I was like, it's not going to grow out in time. So
were you mad?
Is what
Did you
it
leave
is.
Like all pissed off? Did you not tip them?
Yeah. Just trying to look a little, I feel like I look a little ridiculous with the hair.
No, you look great.
Sometimes when it's, the afro, like sometimes I look at it and I just am like, oh, I look like such a weirdo. Where like when it's short, I feel a little better about myself.
No. You look fantastic, long hair or not. By the way, before we get too far down, because I want to ask you about something you just said. We just had a spirited debate about scoring and judging and whatnot. And I just kind of fixed judging. I don't know if you heard the news. I fixed it. And I came up with this fantastic idea. So I'm really into open scoring. Are you into open scoring? Are you down with open scoring?
Yeah, I feel like it's so weird. MMA and like boxing, combat sports are pretty much the only sports where you don't know what the score is. You have to assume.
Yeah.
And I get some people's angles where they're like, oh, well, if this guy knows he's up 2 rounds, he's just going to hang on and like stall. But I don't know. You don't necessarily see that in the NFL. You don't see people, being up 14 points. And then they're like, all right, we just need to stall for the next, 2 quarters, like stuff like that. Because it's a fight. Like people are still obviously going to go for the bonuses. I don't know. Maybe have like my coach was honestly saying this and I thought it was interesting. Do open scoring, but then maybe get rid of like the bonuses, but have them essentially like, say you get a first round finish. You get like an extra 10 grand. Say you get a second round finish, you get an extra 5 grand. Third round finish, like, but still have the incentives for people to finish.
I like that.
But not, then you can still have the open scoring. You can still have people understanding like what's actually happening. And then you're not going to have like what we had with Home Vieira where, both sides are kind of like, And it's just like, I don't know. I think there's not a need for, scoring to be kept secret. We need the judges to be accountable and we need the fighters to kind of know what's going on in the moment, or the coaches at least.
This is why you're reigning Fight Pass Journalist of the Year. Jed, I put Chase's name on the list because you're everyone I ask. The only one who has said no is Ally Quinta, who I respect immensely. But here's the thing. What I just came up with was, all right, let's say you're fighting Felipe Colares, right, on Saturday. They go up to you guys before the fight on Friday at the weigh-ins. Hey, you want open scoring for this fight? If you both agree, then you get it. If you can't agree, then you don't get it. But at least what I'm trying to do is give the fighters the power of knowing if you're about to get screwed or not. There's too much at stake. And by the way, I like what your coach said about the first round, second round thing. I would just say get rid of all the performance bonuses and just do finishing bonus. So, a few weeks ago we had 9 on a card. Everyone got them, 9, all 9. Sometimes there's 1. All right, you got them, a couple of other people. Okay, cool. Just give a finishing bonus so that incentivizes the fighter to still keep fighting. And by the way, there are sometimes clunker NFL games, right? There are some games that are blowouts. It's okay. Not every fight has to be rock'em sock'em robots. And there are ways to deter fighters from running around. There's stalling, there's this and that. So I just feel like I want the fighters, I care deeply about the fighters, Chase. I want you guys to have as much knowledge and power as possible. And now I feel like you only find out at the end, you think you're up, you're about to get screwed, you get half your paycheck. It's not fair.
Yeah. And that's another thing the consequences are so huge for stuff like that. Like it would be good to know beforehand, like when you think you're up, if you're not, and if you need to like be putting in the extra horsepower. I do like the idea of at least starting it off like that of like, hey, do you want open scoring? Do you want open scoring? If you both agree, then like, all right, we're both consciously making that decision. And I feel like that's a really good way to like introduce people to it. And then like, if 95% of the people are like, yeah, then just implement it all together. I feel like that'd be a good kind of way to get the ball rolling on that, and not, because people are scared of change, especially with MMA rule changes, because they are, again, like the win and the loss, like it doubles your paycheck or it halves it. So you really need to know the rules inside and out. So I think slow rule changes would be good like that. Like say something like the downed opponent stuff. People freak out about that. Any little changes to it, they're freaking out. They're like, what's going on? They're so stressed out about it. But yeah, just we got to do slow changes. People are very, very slow to change in the sport, I feel like, as far as that goes.
Yes. Luckily for you, none of this was a factor because you finished your opponent. So shout out to you on that. I wanted to go back to what you said before because I read this great article. Spencer Kite wrote it for UFC.com before your fight, and you were talking about imposter syndrome. And I feel like that's what you were just referring to in that answer that you were talking about, where maybe because of the way you look, your age, maybe you didn't feel like you belong. You're a product of Contender Series. They're giving you the rub. Was that accurate back in the day? And now, a few fights in, do you feel finally like you belong, or is it still kind of a work in progress?
I think confidence is. I've been listening to a lot of sports psychology stuff, so I'm trying not to get too like woo woo about it.
I love that. You could get woo woo.
It's definitely been helping, but it's like it's a constant thing that you have to keep up. Like you can't just be confident and then that's the way it is forever. Like you have to continually keep adding to that, keep reinforcing it, or else you're gonna just slip back and go backwards. And we don't want to kind of lose the ground with the confidence. That's never a good thing. But yeah, it's such a huge step up from, like I think of the amateur circuit as like, high school sports. And then the pro circuit is like college level sports, like, okay, you're good enough. Whereas like the UFC is like the NFL. It's like obviously the very peak. It's, such a huge culmination of things to even get there in the first place. And for so many fighters, they don't get the opportunity to like adjust to that level. You're jumping into the deeper pool each time. And then UFC is the depth of that is infinite. Like I'm now in the same weight class as Max Holloway. I'm in the same, division. I could potentially fight Volkanovski one day. Like that's crazy to think about when you're debuting, and rubbing elbows with like Damian Maia, Israel Adesanya, Colby, Usman, all these crazy high level guys I've been on cards with. It's so hard to just jump in there at, 20 years old when I debuted, and you're just like, oh, these are my coworkers now. Like this is the skill ceiling. It's so hard to adjust to. And being like so young, and I'd only been pro for a couple years, it's so weird to just be like, okay, here's the deep end. We're jumping in. And it's so hard to adjust to that. But now this was my 5th fight. It was so many things went perfect in the lead up, like just all the little stuff. And I know exactly what to expect with the UFC like fight week now. And I feel like I really adjusted to it well. And now I think, again, like I've pressurized to the level of the depth of the UFC, and I feel like now I'm ready to start kind of working my way forward.
I love that. That is great. I mean, that's part of maturing, evolving. By the way, the 11-month layoff, why were you out for so long?
Well, part of that was UFC offered me a fight in October, I think, like early October. And I got married late August.
Congrats.
I was on my honeymoon, like, first week of September. So it would have been like dieting on the honeymoon, fight camp starting, and I was out of the country and all that. So I was like, this is not going to work out time wise. And then, they just kind of bumped me back on the queue. And then, I was trying to get a fight December, January, February, March, April, May. Huh. And then, May, they finally gave me the date. So, you kind of take what you can get. And it was obviously not great in some ways, but it was definitely a blessing in disguise. Just taking the time off, letting my body like adjust to not having to cut a ton of weight or anything. Getting to train without the stress of preparing for a fight, which is, I feel like, where you make the most progress is between fights. Not training for a specific opponent. You're just training for life. You're training for your career. And obviously getting a ton of work in with the guys in South Carolina over at Wonder Boys Gym. And it's been great. Obviously, it was a lot longer than I anticipated, longer than I've ever had between fights. But, I didn't really feel like any possibility of a ring rust or anything coming into it. But yeah.
Damn, 6-7 months. They couldn't sneak you on a card. I mean, they love you over there. They're always tweeting about you. They couldn't put you as the 14th fight on some Apex show.
Yeah. I don't know. Is what it is.
All right.
I'll it's I'm sure they have their reasoning, and I wonder if part of it was to kind of give me more time. They're like, all right, well, if he can't do this quick turnaround, we're going to give him time, see if he kind of develops a little more. And I think it worked out. Obviously, it sucked in the moment to never really have a fight for a crazy amount of time. But I feel like I've been making a lot of progress, and I think it showed.
So you got married like you had just turned 22, or you were about to turn 22, right? You got married, you said, in August?
Yeah.
Your birthday's in September. Why do you do things so young? You come to the UFC, you're barely 20. You're getting married so young? You're just an old soul?
I guess so. I've been with my girl since right after my first pro fight. I remember going into my second pro fight. I was so scared. I was like, if I lose this, I guess I'm gonna have to be single then. But no, but she's been supporting me the whole way. We've lived together since right after my contender fight when she turned 18. So she's been super supportive the whole way. She's been there the whole journey. From me making $600 and $600 at the local casino to making a 50G bonus on Saturday night. And she's done a lot to support me. She was there for my weight cut. And it's just good to have someone to support you. And I kind of had a really chaotic family life. So I think I kind of crave some stability like that. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of her and the gym are my two stable points in life. And that, that's enough for me. So I'm happy with it.
And now she's competing too, right? Doing some jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, she's a blue belt. She just had her first jits tournament in February or March. She got second place, got a pretty sick triangle. I think there's another one coming up in June or July that I'm going to see if she wants to do. And it's kind of fun to be on the cornering side for her, like trying to help her get ready for a competition.
Yeah. By the way, I guess somehow we just zoomed out on your camera. You're wearing a sick Biggie shirt that I didn't notice before because you were all zoomed in. Wow, Biggie wearing a gi? That's amazing.
Yeah, Biggie wearing a gi.
Damn. I'm assuming that's photoshopped, right? He never really trained.
Yeah.
Still awesome. You're a hardcore hip hop guy, right? I see all your favorite. There's a guy, I want to give him a shout out. He does a great job of writing. Do you know what I'm talking about? He asks fighters about things that they are interested in outside of fighting. And he did one on you. And now I'm butcher. You know what I'm talking about? Your favorite M&Ms, your favorite this. What's his name? Damn.
Alex, I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
All right. Well, shout out to Alex. He does a nice job on
Shout
Twitter.
out.
Anyway, that's your favorite type of music.
Yeah, I think I grew up on a lot of '90s rap in the gym, a lot of East Coast rap, Nas, Biggie, Mos Def, Tribe Called Quest, all
Amazing.
these great groups and rappers from the '90s. And I don't know, I just enjoy listening to it. It gets me in the training mood. So for sure.
Alex, I want to get it right. Bunhein, I think it is. So
Seems about right. Yeah.
It is a tough
I didn't
name.
want to butcher it myself.
Yeah. You mentioned your family. What was so chaotic about your upbringing?
Just being white trash, I was a poor kid, on the reduced lunches and all that. One pair of shoes for the year, one pair of jeans. I don't know, just growing up as like a poor white trash kid. My half sister, we both have different dads, that type of thing. Like just, classic white trash folk moments, as far as you can get for Washington. Some substance stuff with some of the parental side of things, but is what it is. Everybody's got their own trials and tribulations, and everybody's got a reason why things should have went wrong. And it's whether you embrace that and like just are in the woe is me mentality, or if you just kind of use that to strengthen you and kind of move past it. And I feel like I've done that pretty well. And I feel pretty, just genuinely happy with my life and where I'm at right now. So I'm content.
Have you always, even like when you were 11, 12, were you always more mature than your friends? Because like right now, I don't feel like I'm speaking to a 22-year-old. And that's a compliment, obviously. I feel like you're much, wiser, more mature than your typical 22-year-old. And you were even showing those, traits when you first came to the UFC, and we learned a lot about you. Were you always this way?
Oh, thanks. I guess, yeah. I don't know. I've always been the weird kid, like just really quiet. I think I've just kind of started to come into my own. I just didn't really have a ton of confidence growing up. Nobody does, especially like, the skinny little weird poor kid, that's me. But I don't know. I always just focused on school. And then when school was done, I went to the gym. And I, even from an early age, I was sacrificing a lot to be at the gym, like hanging out with friends. I'd be like, oh, sorry, I can't. I got to go train. I didn't go to any parties or anything in high school. I didn't really talk to any girls in school. I don't know why. I just really gravitated towards training, and that was my outlet for a lot of things. And, obviously it's worked out, but I think being in the gym and being around a lot of like really wise people who have, maybe made mistakes in their childhood and their youth and stuff, and like hearing those stories and stuff, it really lets you know like what matters and what doesn't. Because when you're in high school, you're like, oh, who's popular, that type of stuff. But, having those older people around you to kind of ground you and really teach you what it is to like be a man and to be a, responsible adult, and, just let you know that most of the shit in school doesn't matter. And I feel like that really helped me from a younger age.
Did you get picked on a lot?
No, I was just so quiet. If somebody picked on me, I would have, done what I had to. But it was just weird. Like, I just didn't really talk to people. I just was quiet. Like, I just focused on my schoolwork, came home, went to the gym, played video games, went to sleep, got up and did it the next morning. I don't know. Nobody really picked on me. I don't think that's like it wasn't as big of a thing at my school. Like, everybody just had their weird little cliques and yeah.
Who introduced you to martial arts?
My coach, Jeff Hoagland, used to work with my dad. It was during like a 2008 stuff with the financial collapse and all that. So he opened up his gym like right when they both got laid off. And my coach was like, hey, bring your kids in, like get them to train. And started jiu-jitsu at 8 years old with my coach, Jeff Hoagland, here in Enumclaw. this tiny little hick town in the middle of Washington. And I got to watch his UFC career. And yeah, just been training with him ever since.
It's incredible. It really is. Your story is very inspiring. And I know that you're young, and I know that you're online, and you're part of the new generation, and UFC pushes you online and whatnot. And I'm wondering, because perhaps you are maybe so in tune with what the streets are saying, like when you lost last year and now you're kind of, winning one, losing one, winning one, lose. And people are very quick to write people off in this day and age, right? Like, oh, you're a never was, you were overhyped, you weren't as good as they said. Did you read that stuff, and did that stuff affect you mentally?
I think it's kind of it's like a kind of two parts to it. Like in some ways, it affected me a lot earlier in the career, like after my contender fight. But at this point, I'm really used to it. Like I've seen some of the worst things that people can write about me, but thankfully I get like 99% positive feedback regardless. Like people are super cool to me, and I really appreciate that from the fans, because they're so brutal overall. But I've already seen pretty much all of the worst things that people could write about me. Like it doesn't really affect me at this point. Like people are like, oh, you suck, and it's like, hey man, I've seen that 1,000 times. It doesn't affect you as much the 1,000th time as it does the first.
Great.
But I've also kind of, for this fight specifically, just after weigh-ins, I turned off all my notifications. I put my phone on do not disturb. The only texts I was getting were from my coach for logistic stuff and for my girl, because those are the only two people I needed to worry about being in communication with for the fight. Because at the end of the day, like, it's just trying to ground yourself and be like, I'm not doing this for other people's opinions. Like, I'm not doing this to satisfy what you people think of me. I'm doing this for myself, and, for my family to like support my wife and all this, and, bring a name to my gym, that type of thing. And that's really what I've been trying to focus on, is doing it for myself more and not focusing on the noise. Because again, like, people will, like they're doing right now, they're like, oh, future champ,
Yeah.
Can't wait for you to get the belt. Those people, I really like, I appreciate the positivity, but their comments are just as out of place as the people that tell you that you suck. Like, the truth is somewhere in the middle. The people that praise you and the people that tell you that you're the worst, like, they're both two ends of the spectrum, and the reality is somewhere in the middle. So it's just trying to not take too much stock into either of those. Like, I don't need to go into the next 6 months and just be like, all right, I'm content with this. I don't have to train hard. It's just trying to, ground myself and really just focus on what really matters, which is the training, my life outside of being just a fighter, and not just making my worth to myself, my self-worth, like not just tying that to being a fighter or winning a fight. And just realizing that the people that really matter are going to respect me either way, the same as I respect them, regardless of what happens to them.
Beautifully said. Honestly, there's a lot that people can learn from that. By the way, how much did you spend at the M&M store in Vegas after the bonus?
I was really disappointed. I don't know why I went in there with I had a ton of M&Ms left. I tried something a little different for the day of the fight. Oh. I normally gorge myself, but I was like, hold on. My girl was reading me something about how, like, you should avoid excessive sugar and excessive caffeine, like the day of a competition, to like reduce the anxiety. Huh. So I was doing that, and that really worked out. So I had a ton of M&Ms left at the hotel. So I had some of those after. I was really going for an M&M button-up shirt. Okay. Sadly, I did not see any at the M&M store. So we ended up spending $0, but I took a pic with the little boxer M&M guy upstairs, and I posted that. So we got something out of it.
Nothing for the road? Like, there's no crazy Vegas flavor that they have up there? I don't know, something that, like, you didn't get anything? A pencil?
No, I'll find an M&M button-up shirt once the bonus check clears. Then I'll splurge on that a little bit. Even if it's off-brand, I'm going to be all right with it.
By the way, I don't mean to like get too personal here, but you have a manager, right? You have someone who represents you.
No, my coach does all of my. He talks with Mick,
Oh,
Sean. He talks with the matchmakers. It's just like we were able to get me to this position without the need of a manager. So like, why?
yeah,
Like whatever extra money they could get me on my contract, they're gonna end up taking. They take like 10-20%.
yeah.
If they can give me an extra 10-20%, that's just gonna cancel out.
No, it's a good
And
point.
it's like, yeah, it's like I've been able to do all of this myself. And when it does get too overwhelming, if I do need help with that, I feel that there are, then we'll assess it from there. But as of right now, like, why give someone extra money for something that I don't need?
Well, I just wanted to put it out an open challenge to anyone if they want to try to butter you up. Someone needs to get you an M&M sponsorship. You speak so much about M&Ms all over the place. So
Yeah,
if someone wants to get your business, reach out to M&M,
that would
say, I
do it
got
for
this
sure.
dude, and that would seal the deal?
Yeah, if I could get an M&M like endorsement, if I'm getting that M&M money, that's something I can't get on my own. So
okay.
like they have to provide the value.
All right.
I'm providing them with my blood money, and they have to provide something on their end.
I love it. All right. So any manager listening, a lot of them do. If you want Chase Hooper's business, get him the M&M sponsorship. Really enjoyed this conversation, Chase. Honestly, great to talk to you. And I don't think we spoke since you trolled me with Askren. Still haven't forgotten about that. It was a fantastic troll. You got me good. My eyesight was a little bad on that day, but well done. And I was expecting the coffee coconut drink, but it's nowhere to be found. Shout out to Aaron Bronstetter.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't able to pick up any coconut milk from the store. I had a busy morning. So
next time. Chase,
yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you talking to me.
All the best. Keep it up. You're a very easy guy to like and to root for. You make the sport better. So well done with everything that you're doing, and looking forward to the next one.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, there he is, Chase Hooper. Big win for him on Saturday. Got the bonus. Very exciting as well. Big win. Unassuming, right? Doesn't look like your typical fighter, but is someone who's very young. Remember, the likes of Max Holloway came into the UFC at around his age. Charles Oliveira came into the UFC at around his age. How did those guys turn out?